out the group or whatever, after we leave from here, I can reach you online?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Like, man, I'm accessible like a mug, man. So after you get out of here, man, let's continue to roll. Because a lot of times I get fathers, they call me and they be like, man, let's talk about this is what I'm going through. And I'll be like, man, hey, this is how we get it. I mean, just having that conversation, man. You know what I'm saying? And just to get us back on track. Because sometimes we can fall off track. Like, we ain't meant to do this stuff alone, man. Like, we meant to do this stuff as a team. That's how we get stuff done, right? So what better thing to do than to connect with other fathers? And we should connect with each other. Like, man, you know what? Hey, man, what's up? What's up? What's up, man? This is what I got going on with my child right now. So we can really get it done, right? So we can be the best possible thing for our children. So that's what it's all about. So yeah, absolutely. After this, man, I'm definitely accessible. Online, Instagram, Facebook, you'll have my card, my number, and whatever may be the case, and we'll continue to build, right? So that's what it's about. Yeah.
Tomorrow we get your Facebook, your real name, right?
Yeah, yep. Carlos M. Christian on Instagram, on Facebook. Christian, yep.
I am. That's card right there with it.
Yep. So yeah, I don't know. I'll bring some more in. I'll bring some more in tomorrow.
Cool.
Because we doing Friday and Saturday.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. So, but that's what we doing, right? We just making sure that we giving them the best us that we can possibly give them. Man, serving the relationship between us and our children with our minds. That means that we are intentional about what we are doing. So when I'm doing what I'm doing, when I'm outside and I'm playing on the playground with my daughter and she asked me to be the lava monster and chase her and her friends around, guess why I'm doing that? I'm doing that because my father made himself accessible to me and my friends. So I say, man, because I know that it produced positive feelings inside of me, I'm sure that when I give my daughter the same exact thing that I got that produced the positive feelings inside of me, I'm sure that it's going to produce the same positive feelings inside of my daughter, right? And if it's more positive feelings than negative feelings, then guess what I'm going to have? A strong, positive relationship. So I'm intentional about what I'm doing. I'm just conscious. Only thing that we are doing right now is making sure that we are conscious, right? Because so often we just be sleep, right? We be sleepwalking, you know what I'm saying? Just on autopilot. I want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, what results I'm trying to get back from what I'm doing so I can get the right results. If I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing, am I going to get the right results?
No, sir.
No, it's no possible way, right? It's a slim chance, but I'm telling you, more than likely, you're not going to get results that you would want. Right? And that's what we want to avoid. So then that's why we are conscious and understanding why we are doing what we are doing with our children. Now remember, last week, what did I say? I say, man, let's go back to our bed area and write that stuff down. Think about, some of the positive interactions that you had with your parents back when you were younger and write it down, because that gives you the ability to be able to focus on it, right? And say, man, this is the type of father that I want to be, right? That's what is so important. That's the extra work that we want to put in to, man, this fatherhood piece, right? So what's next? The next thing is what? Looking at the negative. Identifying the negative and then resisting the negative. I remember I was asking fathers and they was like, man, there's a whole bunch of negative, right? What do we want to do with that negative?
Turn the bottom.
We don't want to give our children that same negative. That means that if I didn't like it when my father or my mother screamed at me or called me names or made me feel less than, then guess what I'm going to do when I'm a father? I'm not going to give my children that same thing. So when I get tempted to do that, I'm going to think like, hold up, that produced the negative feeling inside of me when I was a child. I'm not going to do that same thing to my children because I already know it to be poison. It made me sick when I was a kid. It's going to make my children sick now in this present day and time. It would be foolish for me to do the same exact negative thing that was done to me. I've heard fathers say, man, you know what, man, my father wasn't there. And now when they are fathers now, they aren't there. Because they're not identifying it. You got to focus on that stuff. You got to look at it and say, hold up, I'm going to resist from that entering into my parenting. And you got to be intentional. If you are not intentional, it will surface unconsciously. It will become a part of your parenting. Parents, right now, they was hollered at when they were children. And how do you think that they resolve conflict with their children now?
I just said something to my ex-wife this morning about that on the phone with the kids. She always gonna yell at our mom. She started yelling at the kids. I'm like, stop yelling at them. Talk to them. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
Because she was yelled at when she was a kid.
Right.
And she's unconsciously doing the same exact thing that was done to her because she's not focused on it. She's not conscious about what type of parent that she's delivering to her children. So she is doing the same negative things that produced the negative feelings inside of her when she was a child. And now, as she is a mother, she's going to do the same thing with her children. And what do you think is going to produce inside of them? Those same negative feelings inside of them as it was in her. But that's the work that it takes, man. We gotta literally think about it. Once we think about it, now we can say, man, you know what? I'm not going to do that. If I used to say, man, you know what? When I was playing football or basketball or whatever sport I was playing, and I used to look out in the stands and it was, and my parents weren't there, you know, and that made me feel negatively about my parents weren't being there to support me because they had other things that they had to do, work or whatever may be the case. Now that I'm a father, I'm going to say, man, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be there at the games. I'm going to be there at the dance recitals because I know that that's what I wanted when I was a child. So when I get the temptation to do something like, man, just skip it, I'm gonna be like, hold up, I'm not going to skip it. I'm going to be there because I don't want to be that type of father where I'm not at my people's at my children's events that they are participating in. I gotta intentionally do that. But if we don't be intentional, I'm telling you, it's not going to just happen. We got to put our minds to it and get it done. That's the only way that it's going to be able to get done, right? And this is as easy as it is. I'm telling you, this is crazy. The same way it's easy to do it, it's also easy not to do it. And that's what's crazy, right? I'm going to share with y'all, man, something that happened with me just yesterday. Kid you not. Remember I said I didn't like, man, you know, with my parents, like I didn't like their words falling through the cracks, you know. They'll say they was going to do something, and then when it came time to get it done, they didn't do it. They said they had an excuse on why it couldn't be done, but you said you was going to do it, and now you talking about it's something else to be done now. But you told me, you gave me your word. That created the negative feeling inside of me. So when I said that, man, you know, what type of father do I want to be? I want to make sure that what I say, I mean what I say. When I put my word out there to my children, I want to make sure that I hold on to my word and it come back solid, right? It'll never come back void. So I'm intentional about my word with my children. Kid you not, because I want to make sure that they don't feel that same negative feeling that I felt when I was a child. So I'm intentional. Man, my son, I go work out yesterday, right? I go to the gym. He said, man, Dad, man, can we go ahead and do the cones? He getting ready for football, so he wanted to, you know, do the cones. He had got some cones and stuff that he can, you know, do drills with. So I'm like, yeah, son, after I get done working out, I'll come back and I'll do the cones, right? So I go work out, and then I come back to the house, and he just chilling. He ain't saying nothing. So I'm like, man, cool. I'm like, I'm trying to really get out of it. I'm just going to be honest, man. Right. I mean, I was kind of tired from working out. I'm like, man, I don't really want to do these cones, because he wanted me to run with him. He wanted me to do the cones with him. So I'm like, man, I ain't really trying to run those sprints right now, right? Like, I'm just being honest, man. So I'm trying to get out of it. So I'm going ahead, I'm just talking with him, and we talking, and I'm about to get in the shower, right? And he comes into the room and he says, Dad, man, what about the cones, man? And I said, man, wow. I said, yeah, you want to do the cones? I didn't know you wanted to do them, right? I put my clothes back on, my sweaty drawers back on, and I went outside and I ran the cones with my son. I was out there for about an hour. But why did I do that? Because I'm intentional. But I'm telling you, it's so easy to do the other thing. Because I was trying to say, man, if I can get away with it, I'm going to get away with it. I want to get to the point, too, where I'm like, man, hey, I already said it. I'm going to come to you with it. But, hey, I'm telling you, this was my lower self was kicking in. I'm just going to be honest with y'all, man. My lower self was kicking in, and I was like, man, hey, if I can get out of it and he ain't going to say nothing about it, I ain't going to say nothing about it. That's what I said to myself. But when he brought it up to me, I couldn't come back to him and say, son, we'll just do it tomorrow. And it would have been easy for me to say that. And he would have said, okay, cool. Right? It's not like he would have been like, oh, what you mean? You know, he would have said, cool. But I didn't say, man, we're going to do it tomorrow. I said, oh, you want to do it? Come on, let's go get out there and get it done. Right? You know, but that's what I'm talking about. The reason why I can give my children that type of father is because I'm thinking about what type of father that I'm giving them. I'm focused on not giving them the same poison that I had when I was a child. Right? And if I teach the parenting class and I implement it and I still struggle, this stuff is no joke, man. And it's going to take everything in you to be that next level type of father for your children. And the thing about it, if you a next level type of father for your children, then what type of adults will your children become? Next level type of adults. But we got to invest into our children. We got to give them everything that we got. And when we give them everything that we got, not only will it bless us, but it will bless them. Because who you got to become to be that father is no joke, man. It's no joke. It's going to try you. It's going to make, it's going to pull and stretch you. That's why it's so beautiful. Remember what I said last week. Man, children are not only a blessing, they are a blessing, not only because what we got to give to them, but what they got to give to us. They stretch us. They make us become, who we need to be. They are assigned to us. It wasn't by mistake that your children were assigned to you. I don't care what nobody say, your children were supposed to be born to you. Because all of the stuff that goes into children being conceived. For conception to happen, 1 out of 10 million sperm. That means that 1 out of 10 million sperm had to, penetrate that egg. Everybody can't get pregnant. Everybody can't have children. But you've had children for a reason. And we got to make sure that we do the best that we can. Right? So after we look at the positive and we duplicate the positive, we identify the negative and we resist the negative. Now what do, fellas? We look outside of ourselves. We look at other fathers, seeing things that they do. We look at fathers in the movies. We look at fathers on the TV. We look at fathers in the neighborhood. And then we say, man, you know what? I'm going to take from you what you do with your children and I'm going to do it with my children. Because I like the way that looks. Right? All of this is just going into me understanding what type of father that I'm delivering to my children. You see what I'm saying? So when I see somebody tell me that they do movie night they do movie night once out of the week, and I say, man, that's pretty dope, man. I like movie night. I like the idea of movie night. Guess what I do now? I've been doing movie night for over 4 months now in my household. I've actually implemented movie night to where my children know about movie night. We get a pizza. Movie night is tonight, right? So we're going to get a pizza. We go to Redbox and get a movie out of Redbox and put it in the DVD player. I get the popcorn, pop the popcorn. I let them go into the store, say, man, go ahead and get everything that you want on the dollar rack. Right? Anything on the dollar rack, get everything that you want. 2 boxes of candy apiece. Right? So I let them know, right? And they like that stuff because they look forward to movie night. That's time that we spend it with each other, right? And it's something that's pleasant for them. And they say, man, that's a pleasant memory that they're going to have. And I'm installing that pleasant memory inside of their lives because I'm intentional about what I'm doing. So they love movie night, right? I got that from another parent. Nothing new is under the sun. So when I'm looking at what type of parent that I want to be, I'm looking outside of myself. When I'm looking at my wife and kids, remember I said I looked at the way that he was interacting with his children or my wife and kids, and I said, you know what? I want to do the same exact thing with my children, right? He's a creative dad, and that's when we came with the double up. Because I said that, man, I want to do the double up with my children as well. I want to do the double up with my children. And I created the double up to be a creative dad with my children like Damon Wayans is with his children on TV. Have I ever met Damon Wayans? No. But he showed me something that I want to go ahead and duplicate. That's not even a real character. He's not, but I like that idea of being a creative dad. So I say I'm going to be a creative dad with my children as well. I look at Furious Styles on Boys in the Hood. I say, man, he's an informational dad. I want to be informational as well with my children. I want to make sure that I'm the type of father that has all kinds of information. So when they go out there and make decisions, they'll be able to make decisions on the information that I am putting inside of their heads. It's not about what we put in their hands, right, men? It's about what we put in their heads. Because if we put the right thing in their heads, then they will always be able to keep something in their hands. So that's why we want to be intentional. Why do we struggle in life? We struggle in life because we just don't know how to be. Because we've learned how to be by media. We've learned how to be by people who don't have our best interests at hand. And because we've learned how to be by people who don't have our best interests at hand, we are in places that we don't want to be. That's what it is. How you think I did 10 years in prison? I found myself 10 years in prison. How? Because I was learning how to be by people who didn't have my best interest at hand. They said, Carlos, man, you got to roll around with these guns. Carlos, you got to sell this dope like it's going out of style. This is how you going to get it done. I learned how to be by them. They taught me how to be the person that I was back then. You got to, man, hold the codes to the streets. Until I realized, there ain't no codes in the streets. People get hit, they tell. Like, this is what happens, man. Like, it's all kind of, it's no honor. Like, but they try to act like it's honor, man. You know, like it's just an illusion. But they telling me how to be, and they don't know how to be. So I'm learning how to be by somebody who don't know how to be as well. Where are we going to end up at? Like this. This is where we end up at.
Right.
We end up in places like this.
Or worse.
Or worse, in the grave.
Yes, sir.
Or worse, in the grave. But I said that, man, if I don't do what I need to do and become who I need to be, then my child will be developed the same way that I was developed. Because my son was 3 months old when I got incarcerated for a 10-year prison sentence. And I said that, man, he will be exactly like I was if I don't get myself together. He will be developed by the same bogus information that I was developed by. And if he gets in the same place, then it's going to be worse 10 years from now. For him, because things just get worse. These facilities aren't designed to get better. They are designed to get worse. It's hell. It's going to get worse, worse, and worse. Right? So then that's why we want to make sure that we are becoming the fathers that we need to be, so we can make sure that our children got the right tools. We don't want them to look up and they ain't got the right tools in their tool belt. That they sit up there running around with a butter knife in their tool belt and they trying to unscrew a Phillips head screw. We failed as fathers. We want to make sure that they have the Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, a drill. You know, we just want to put all of the tools, a hammer. We want to put all of the tools that they need. We don't want them trying to bang a nail into something with their shoe. Because they just trying to make do. Like, come on. Like, that's our responsibility. That's what it's about, being there for our children. Right? It's about making sure that we have the mind to be there for our children. And that's what this is all about, fellas. It's all about making sure that we getting the right type of information to influence our thinking, to control our behavior. Information influences thinking, and thinking controls behavior. So we want to make sure that we have the right information going into our minds so that we can move in a manner that will benefit our children in the best possible way. The first place that we got to start is in what? Determining what type of father that I want to be. I'm not going to just give you any old father. I'm going to vet all of this information that I have in determining what type of father that I'm going to deliver to my children. That means that I'm not going to just do things that was done to me just because they was done to me. So many parents, they don't even know why they doing things with their children. They just doing it because it was done. And it might have been done back then because your parents was in that type of space. But you in a different space. And you doing the same thing that was done that fit back then. It don't fit right now. But the reason why you don't know that it don't fit right now is because you haven't evaluated it. We want to evaluate. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? So when it get asked of us, we can say, I'm doing this because I want this. I'm doing that because I want that. That's why I'm doing it. And that's what consciousness is all about in this fatherhood piece. So now the next layer that we're going to peel back to establishing a strong positive relationship with our children is what? The first one was what? Understanding what type of father that I want to be. What type of father that I want to deliver to my children. Right? Now this next piece is determining what type of adult do I want my children to become. What is my goals for my children? How many of us grew up in a household where we understood what the goals for us were? Right, right. No, was it no goals set out there for us? Do you think that Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, do you think that they have goals set already for that team?
Yes, sir.
What is their goals?
To win.
To win what? Championships. How do you think that they end up in the championship so many times, man? Over 2 decades of just, man, championship behavior? The reason why they end up there is because they got goals to end up there. They got goals to get there, so then therefore everything that they doing is to do what? Accomplish the goal. But if you don't have the goal set, then where are you going to be?
Nowhere. Class.
Somebody else will set up some goals for you because they see that you don't have no goals set for you. They'll set up a place for you to be, right? You gotta have your destination set and say, that's where I want to be at. I gotta have my destination set. And once you set your destination, now you can set yourself up to get there. Now you can start to utilize the resources that are around you to be able to help you get there. But you gotta first do what? Understand what is your goals. When we talked about what type of father that I want to be, that's understanding what type of goal that I have as a father, right? That's me. So now I can focus on becoming that. That's how I can say, son, I'm going to go ahead and honor my word. I'm going to do what I said that I was going to do and go outside and run them cones with you. Because that was my goal, is not to give my children a word that didn't stick. So now when I'm looking at what type of adult that I want my children to become, what are my goals for my children? A lot of times, what type of goals does society usually set on their children? Oh, you say, oh, be just like me, right? That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. So people, it's like, man, I'm a speaker. I want you to be a speaker. I'm a businessman. I want you to run the family business. Right? Ain't this how they do with their children? I want you to run the family business because I'm a businessman. Right? But I ask you this. Will that make your children successful as adults if they do what you did?
They do what they want to do.
Because you being a businessman is tapping into what's inside of you, brother. Me being a speaker, it taps into what's inside of me. That means that you ain't, man, I'll travel from Pickerton to here, an hour and a half to do this, and you ain't got to twist my arm. I got to wake up at 6 o'clock to get here because I got to leave out at 7, right? You ain't twisting my arm to do this. Man, I'm successful. Why? Because I love doing what I do. I love building with my brothers up in here. I love this stuff. You ain't got to convince me to come here because this is what I've been designed to do, period. That's what success is being able to do what you have been designed to do. I get a certain level of euphoria from that stuff. It gives me energy when I have the ability to build with brothers who want to learn. The worst thing for me is to build with brothers who don't want to learn, who already know, right? When you already know and you know everything, I can't give you nothing because your cup is already full. I'll waste my content. I don't want to waste my content. So when I come in here, I work with brothers who empty and ready to just build. Let me get it. That gives me energy. What zaps my energy is when people like, I got it already. It's like, brother, how you got it and you ain't in this place, you ain't in the place that you want to be. That gives me energy. But that's for me. How can I give that to how can I tell my son to do the same exact thing? Because it might be inside of him to be a veterinarian. And the way that he's going to feel the feeling that I feel is if he's doing what he needs to do, which is being a veterinarian. He's not going to get the same feeling that I'm receiving as being a speaker. He's not going to wake up and energize and like that. He can do it well, but he's not going to be good at it in his head. He's not going to feel successful. He's going to be like, man, I'm doing this for the money or whatever may be the case, but I'm just doing what I got to do.
But my father did it.
Because my father did it.
You had no compassion or nothing for it.
Nothing. So then therefore, it's like it's not going to give him the same type of energy that it gives me. He needs to do what he has been designed to do. That's what I gotta raise my children to do, what's inside of them. I gotta bring out what's inside of them, not what pleases me. That's selfish if you think about it. It's saying that, man, I'm not only going to, dictate my life, I'm going to dictate yours too. I'm gonna have you doing the same thing that I've done. I'm going to have you, man, going after the same things that I go after. How many, children like, man, I don't even want to run no business, but they got to run the family business because that's what the family has already put out there for them. You going to run the family business. If you ain't running the family business, you're not successful. But really what they want to do is they want to be a psychiatrist or something. They want to be whatever, they want to be a musician. They want to do something like that. But the family is saying, no, you going to have to run the family business. That's manipulation, man. So when I set my goals for my children, I don't set my goals for my children based on what type of a profession that I want them to become. I set my goals on my children based on what type of character that I want them to be, right? And this is how we get it done. So when I look at the type of character, right, I look at 5, I used to have 4, but now I got 5. I got 5 character traits that I believe that every successful adult has. And this is my goals that I have for my children, is to make sure that when they are adults and we done, and they going out there into the world, that they will be prepared with the right character traits good, I'm glad you up there. Yes. That they are prepared with the right character traits that they need to be successful, right? All right, cool. And then we're going to talk about how to accomplish those goals. It's one thing about setting the goals. The next thing we got to talk about is how do we accomplish the goals, right? So the first character trait that I want my children to have as an adult is I want them to be confident. Why do I want them to be confident, right? Because when you are insecure, You find yourself in situations you don't want to be in. When you trying to be what everybody wants you to be and you trying to fit in and things like that, people will always change the finish line. They will say, oh, you did this, well, you got to do that. Because why? People ain't never satisfied. I want my children to be confident in who they are. Not arrogant, but confident. Arrogance is when you don't believe you have no weaknesses. But confidence is when you understand you have weaknesses, but you believe that you can overcome those weaknesses.
Right.
I want my children to be confident, because when they're confident, that also will make them attractive to other people. Right? Opportunity come through relationships. The next goal that I have for my children is I want them to be good decision makers. And I can come with a reason on why I want these goals for my children, why I want these character traits, right? Because we are our decisions. If my children are good decision makers, will they be in good places in life? Sure. If they put together a string of good decisions, where will they be at in life? In a successful place, right? A good decision is just a decision that's made that includes the person who's making it. That means that when I make a good decision, it's saying that, man, I've evaluated the consequences. That means that I poured all of my resources into understanding the consequences. And I said that, you know what? I understand the consequences and I'm not cool with those consequences. And I'm going to do something different. When I was 13 and I said, man, I'm going to sell dope and I'm going to get it in like that, I didn't look at the consequences. If I really did look at the consequences, I would have said that, man, hold up, I'm not about to do that. Why? Because I don't want to be in prison for 10 years. I don't want to sit up here and separate from my family. I don't want to be around all men, right? I don't want that, right? I want to be around some women too, right? Like, I just want that, right? I don't want to be going up into the showers and men trying to talk to me while they butt naked. That stuff is crazy. Like, brother, you naked, brother. Don't talk to me while we in the shower naked talking about rap. I don't want that. Like, I didn't like that. That made me uncomfortable, right? So if I would have understood the consequences, I'm just that serious, dude. You'd be like, man, yeah, Los, man, I'm telling you, man, you should see me on rec today. It's like, brother, like, you naked, I'm naked, brother. Let's talk about this after we get out the shower, brother. Right. Like, ain't no conversation that important that we need to talk while you bucket naked. You bucket naked, man. Like, come on, man. Like, shit. Hold on, man. Like, she's like, we on the toilet. I'm on the toilet taking a dump. They like, man, Los, man, you a real brother, man. Like, brother, you ain't even wipe your hands. You ain't even wash your hands, and you just like trying to get me dap on the toilet. Like, stuff is crazy. So if I would have understood those consequences, then my decision would have been different about selling dope, about sitting up here running around with these guns and stuff. Because I would have said to them, you know what, I don't want those type of consequences. A good decision is evaluating the consequences. What are the consequences? Because that's what you will live with. You won't live with the decision. You're going to live with the consequences of that decision. The decision is made like this, but what stays there? The consequence. Some of us have had children with women that we don't really want to be with, and they all jacked up, right? But that was the decision that you made. You looked at them and said, they look good, and I'm going to get my thing wet, and I'm going to do what I need to do, right? That's the only thing that you was thinking about. You wasn't thinking about all of the baggage that she's coming with, how she's been raised, like, because she got a lot of stuff that she's coming with that's going to make it difficult for you to interact with her. You didn't look at all of that, because that wasn't important to you at the time. But now you got to live with the consequence of not looking at how she was brought up. What are her values? How many men come to the women and say, man, what are your values? Where are you trying to be at in life? What are you trying to get done? How many men do that? We look at them and we be like, dang.
That's not it.
I need to get in there. And we do whatever we need to do to get in. And then we lay up in there. And then we have children. And then we find ourselves in bad situations trying to negotiate with somebody that's crazy.
Yes.
But who made the decision?
We gotta deal with the consequences.
We got to deal with the consequences. We didn't put our energy into understanding what the consequences were. Because if we would have put our energy into understanding what the consequences were, we would have been like, hold up, I'm not about to be sitting up there going through that later.
That's like we was playing checkers when we need to be playing chess.
Absolutely right, man. We playing chess. We playing checkers, man.
Right.
We playing checkers. That's an issue. That's an issue, right? So I want my children to be good decision makers as adults because I believe that that's going to put them in the best possible situation. The third goal that I have for my children is I want them to be self-regulated. I want them to have this character trait of being self-regulated because I believe that the people who have the ability to regulate themselves find themselves in the best situations. Why? Because they understand what needs to be done and they get it done. They don't need to be told what to be done. They already get done what needs to be done. They need to go to work. They know they get to work, right? They need to pay the bills. They're going to pay the bills, right? They know what needs to be done. I'm not about to go ahead and stiff the light bill and then face the consequences later. I'm going to get done what needs to get done, right? Regulate myself. I want my children to be self-regulated as adults, right? That's another goal. The fourth goal that I have for them is I want them to be individuals that bring value back to the table. Individuals that bring value back to the table. Why is that so important? Because when people come around them, I want them to say, man, you know what, that's good to be around that individual. I want them to be attractive. Because why? Opportunity comes through relationships. Opportunity comes through relationships. It's not about what you know. A lot of times it's about who you know. If you know the right people, doors will open for you that will not open for people who don't know the right people. So I want my children to be attractive as a whole. And one thing that I know is that when you come to the table and say, man, this is what I got to offer, people are more attracted to you. Versus you coming to the table and saying, what you got on this table? Let me get it. Let me get it. Let me get it. Let me take. When somebody comes to the table, let me take. How will that make you feel? If every time I seen you, I say, man, what you got?
And feel used.
Right. Not used, because it's okay to be used. We are here to be used. You will feel misused. You will feel misused. When you feel misused, then that's when you get offended. And you like, hold up, I'm feeling misused here. Because every time that you see me, you just coming to take. You ain't trying to replenish, you trying to diminish, right? And because you're trying to diminish, man, I have a problem with you. What you will start to do with that person is you will start to get away from that person. You will start to feel negatively about that person. You will have some sort of resentment towards that person because you see them as coming to you to take and diminish what you have. They're not coming to add. I want my children to be individuals that bring value back to the table. That means that if we all out here hunting and we like, if you go ahead and kill if you kill a cow, if you kill a chicken, if you kill a dang on a pig, if you can cook, right? You can cook. You can make cutlery, right? And you good with sanitation. You don't want me coming to the table after y'all done did, after you done killed the cow, after you done killed the chicken, and you got the chicken, and you done went ahead and killed the pig, and you putting all of that stuff together, right? And you cleaning all of the dishes and things like that to make sure that it's sanitized, and you sit up here saying, man, you know what? Hey, what did you do? What was your responsibility? You had the cutlery, right? So you had the cutlery, right? And you don't want me coming to the table and be like, man, I'm glad y'all all working together, man.
Yeah. Because it's really great.
I appreciate y'all brothers, man.
Right.
And I ain't washing no dishes.
Ain't doing nothing.
I ain't doing nothing. I'm just hungry. How many times can I play that role? How many times can I do that? And this is what we got to think about, man. Fellas, straight up. People get developed in that way. They get developed to be that way. Remember, before you wrote on that board, what did it look like? It was blank. Children come into the world as a blank canvas. They learn how to be from their environment that they are coming up in. So when people are sitting up there saying, I'm just coming to take, I'm looking to get, the reason why they do that is because that's how they've been raised. So that's why I'm never critical of people. Because I understand that if I would have been raised the same exact way, then I would be the same exact way. The only difference is that I was raised differently. I came in contact with different information. People are so critical of people, and they don't understand that the only reason why they are the way that they are is because they was raised that way. But if you was raised in the same way that that person was, then you would be doing some of the same exact things. So that's why I want to make sure that my children are individuals that bring value back to the table. The number 5 goal that I have for my children as adults, I want them to do their best. I want them to have that character trait, to just do your best. That means that whatever you do your best. If they do their best in what they do, where will they be at in life? Successful. I'm not saying do more than your best. I'm not saying, man, hey, accept less than your best. I say just do your best. That's it. It's up to you to do your best. If you do your best, then you will be in a successful place in life. That's all that's required, is for us to do our best. As fathers, only thing that we got to do is all that we can do. But we just got to make sure that we are really doing all that we can do. If we're not doing all that we can do, then that's a problem, and you're not going to get the results that you want to get. So I'm just doing all that I can do as a father. All you can do is all you can do. But guess what, men? All you can do is enough. You just got to make sure that you're doing all that you can do. If you're doing all that you can do, I don't care what's outside of you. It is enough. But you just got to make sure that you are doing all that you can do. And you are the determining factor of you doing all that you can do. It's in your own mind. Are you doing all that you can do? Are you getting up at 6 o'clock a.m. because that's what you need to do? Are you reading a little bit more so you can learn a little bit more? Are you getting into the right conversations? Are you getting around the right people? Are you looking in the right places? Are you doing all that you can do? That's the question that needs to be asked. And if you are not doing all that you can do, then you cannot expect your life to be in a grand place. All you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But you just got to make sure that you're doing all that you can do. Right? So, I want my children to be adults that do their best. They have that character trait, then that's going to be a beautiful thing. So now, how do we get that done? The first thing that I do, and especially with your 8-year-old too, you got your 8-year-old. The first thing that I do is I have them write these goals down. Right? This is the first step that I take into accomplishing my goals. I have them write the goals down. And then if they're old enough, I have them look up the definition of the goals or whatever may be the case. But I have them write them down. This is some things that we can apply. Remember, all of this stuff is applicable. So I have them write the goals down. After they write the goals down, where do I have them put them at? On the refrigerator. Why? Because kids, if you know like I know, them jokers stay in the refrigerator. So I want them to have the goals planted on the refrigerator that they've written down. So every time they go in the refrigerator, guess what they seeing? This. Goals that I have for them. This is what we're going to be doing when I'm interacting with you, parent to child. I'm making sure that you have these goals by the time you are an adult. I'm going to make sure that I instill these character traits inside of you. That's my goal, right? So now, after I have them write them down and put them on the refrigerator, now the next thing that we got to do is we got to encourage the behavior. So we want to make sure that we build on the positive. This is strategic, man. This is what we got to do to accomplish the goals. We got to be strategic. So we want to build on the positive. That means that when we see them doing one of these goals, exhibiting one of these goals that we have for them, what we want to do is we want to build on that positive. We want to encourage the behavior. Encouragement means to be specific. It's telling them exactly what they did, why it benefited the situation, and how it's going to benefit them in the future. That's encouragement. Encouragement is different from praise. Praise is just saying, good girl, good boy. That's it. But when you encourage, right, this is the difference. Because now they can get an understanding of exactly what it is that they did. And once they understand what it is that they did, guess what they are going to do? Because it's going to make them feel good about that encouragement. They're going to look for a different place to do it at again. They're going to say, hold up, you think I showed you something then? Watch me do it again, right? And then they're going to try to do it again. This stuff is like a science. I kid you not, man. And I see this stuff happening with my children. I kid you not. And they're going to look to do it again, and then again, and then again, until it becomes a part of their character. This is what's so beautiful about it. Because don't you feel good when somebody tells you the things that you've done right? Because now you like, man, okay, I'm in the right. Okay. Watch this. You know, I'm about to do it again. And the child is just thinking about pleasing the father, but you are on something different and saying, I'm making sure you got these character traits that you need to have, right? For life. I'm making sure that you have the tools. So then that's why encouragement is so necessary. So then I'm going to give y'all a story just to, man, tie that all the way in, right? Man, my son taking a shower, right? He taking a shower. Right now, he gets up, he takes the showers on his own, he gets dressed for school on his own, he makes it to the bus stop on his own, right? What is that? He's self-regulating. He's regulating himself. That means that I don't got to wake him up or nothing. This stuff is a beautiful thing.
You got to hold his hand through all that.
Man, this stuff is a beautiful thing, man. I kid you not. My son's in the 7th grade. He's been doing that since he was about like in the 4th grade. Me and my wife, we got a divorce. I separated from my wife when he was in 2nd grade. By the 3rd grade, I think I had the divorce and it was final. But I had my son 5 days of the week. And he went to school from my house, right? So it was just me and him in the house. So I needed him to be that person who was self-regulated. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I remember in 4th grade, I used to turn on the shower for him, right? Because he never did turn on the shower. I used to come in there, turn on the shower, boom, and then let him get in the shower. He'd get in the shower, do his thing, because he had his own bathroom in his room, right? And he would get dressed and he would get to school. So he was cool. He was already waking up on his own, and he was just waiting on for me to turn on the shower. One morning I came in there and I'm like, man, boom. I'm like, man, what's going on? I had woke up late, right? And I say, dang, I woke up late. So I go in there, man, this brother's just sitting there playing the Xbox. And I say, man, dang, what's going on, son? He said, oh, man, you asleep. So that's why I ain't getting a shower. I say, man, what the heck? I say, man, that's crazy, man. I said, you could have woke me up, man, and I could have turned on the shower for you. Now you're going to be late for, the bus, and I'm going to have to take you to school. But I was cool. I showed him. I said, son, this is how you turn on the shower, right? The left is the cold, is the hot, the right is the cold, and then once you do that, you fill the water out the sprout, and then once it's cool and the way that it needs to be, you pull up the lever, and the shower will come out the head. And I said, do you understand? He says, yeah, I understand, Dad. I said, cool, right? So we understood. So I'm like, okay, go ahead and get in the shower, do your thing, right? So a couple days, matter of fact, the next day, I wake up and I'm going to like make sure that I turn that he get ready to get up and get in the shower, right? And I come into his room, he's already in the shower, and he's up in there like, I'm like, what the heck? I say, look, now what do I do? Opportunity of a lifetime. Join the lifetime of the opportunity. That means that opportunities come, boom, and they go. And you got to capitalize on the opportunities when they present themselves, or else there'll be a missed opportunity. But I'm looking at it and I say, wow, this is one of my goals that I have for him. That means that I want him to be self-regulated. He's regulating himself. So I got to encourage the behavior so he can continue to duplicate it. So I want to make sure he has the right thing in his head. So when I see him in the shower, taking a shower on his own, without me having to turn on the shower, I say, yes, let me encourage the behavior. Telling him exactly what he did, how it benefited the situation, how it's going to benefit him in the future. So I say, son, man, that's what I'm talking about, man. Look, you regulate regulating yourself, man. You done got in the shower on your own. You done turned it on yourself, man. You in the 4th grade, man, right now, man. Hey, now I ain't got to worry about, man, taking you to school because you done messed up and you done messed around and got yourself together, man. That stuff is next level. When you become an adult, man, I'm telling you, man, you're going to be in a successful place because you don't need people to tell you what to get done. You already know what to get done. Look, it took that amount of time, but that's everything, and it means everything. When I'm telling him that, he can process it in a different way, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing that, right? Like, yeah, I'm doing that. I'm self-regulated, right? So now he's understanding what he's done. Now he's looking for different ways to get the same thing done, to regulate himself. So now when I tell him, and I kid you not, man, I had to go to speaking engagements, to Mansfield, to other prisons, and whatever may be the case. I had to go to different speaking engagements, and I would say, man, you know what, I got to leave out early because I got to travel, man, a few hours, and it's just me and him in the house. And I'll be like, man, this was in 5th, 6th grade. And I'm like, man, I'm going to need you to get on the bus, man. And you got to leave out at a particular time to make sure you don't miss the bus. Because if you miss the bus, ain't nobody here, right? And you'll be the only one here. So you got to make sure you get out on time. That brother get out on time. That means he'll leave out at 8:17 because he knows that the bus comes at 8:30. He'll make sure that he's early so he don't miss the bus. And he's conscious. He's really looking at the time and making sure that he gets out at the right time. Literally. And be excited about it. So when I tell him, I say, man, and then he calls me on the phone. When he gets on the bus, I say, man, call me when you get on the phone. Call me when you get on the bus. He calls me, and when he calls me, I encourage the behavior. So now he's looking for ways to continue to do that. But guess what type of adult he's going to become because of my interactions with him?
Successful.
No doubt, because he's going to be self-regulated.
Yes.
I'm instilling that character trait that he needs to have. That's how we get it done. But I'm intentional about what I'm doing. I'll give you another story about it. One time I'm going to his mom. This was when me and his mom was married, and she got lupus, right? It's a immune deficiency disease or whatever.
Yeah.
Where your organs, they fight. And they just, it's like they're under attack. And it puts them into different episodes. So what brings her down is when she gets steroids. So then they got to give her some steroids to bring the episodes down, to calm it down. And sometimes she got to get checked in overnight, right? But sometimes they just put her in the emergency room and they get her back out. So one time she was going through one of the episodes, and I remember her mom had called me, and she said, man, hey, Carlos, listen, hey, man, she's down here at the hospital in the emergency room. I'm like, cool. I'm leaving a speaking engagement, and I remember I go to the speaking engagement, and I'm leaving the speaking engagement. I'm going to the emergency room. I pick up my son. We go to the emergency room to check out his mother, and they said that they was going to admit her into the hospital overnight because it was that serious. And I was like, okay, cool. I remember we was in the room, and my son, he says, man, hey, Dad, can I go to the restroom before we leave? Because I told him, I said, man, you know what? I say, I'm going to take you back with your brothers, and I'm going to come back up here and spend some time with your mother. And he was like, okay, cool. He's like, then I got to go to the bathroom before we do that. I said, all right, cool. He goes to the bathroom. He peels off to the bathroom. He gets back and he says, Dad, okay, I'm ready. I said, man, okay, let's go, right? Now, there was some stuff that happened there that I didn't realize at that time. But I'm like, okay, cool, right? So we leave out, and when we leave out, I'm about to get on 270. It's a highway in Columbus. I'm about to get on 270, and as I'm getting on, I'll just remember that I forgot my dang on check inside of the emergency room that I had got from my speaking engagement. So I bust a U-turn. Boom! Let me go ahead and get back to the hospital. And when I got back to the hospital, I remember that I came through the doors. And when I come through the doors, man, the line was from the admissions desk all the way to the door. And I'm like, oh, no, this can't be. Like, man, I can't wait in this line to get back to her room, because they go put her upstairs and they go clean the room. I mess around and lose my check. Like, I need to get my check. My son is looking at me and I'm looking at him. I'm like, man, what the heck is about to go on? I say, man, forget this. I said, man, I just went around the line and I just went through the double doors. Boom. I'm like, man, I'll find the room myself. You know, like, I just came from there, so I should figure out the room. But when I got back there, man, all of the rooms back there looked the same. And I'm like, man, this stuff all look the same. Man, I don't know which way. This is like a maze. I don't know, go left, go right. All of it looked the same. So now my heart beating like this. And I'm like, man, what the heck, man? This is crazy, man. I done lost this check, man, because I know that they about to move her upstairs. They was already prepping to move her upstairs anyway when we left. So I know that they probably got her already upstairs. And I'm like, man, I'm about to lose this check. I remember my son, he looks at me. He says, Dad, you looking for Mom's room, right? And I say, yeah, son, what do you think we here for, right? And he said, man, Mom is in room 137. I say, what? What you talking about? He says, Dad, man, when I went to the bathroom, I made sure that I looked at the room number so I could make it back, right? And I said, wow. He says, I didn't want to get lost. Wow, good decision making. That means that he made sure that he got the information that he needed to make it back to his destination. He regulated himself as well. So what did I do when he did that? I didn't sit up there and ignore it. I didn't just sit up there and say, let's go get the check. Let's get to room 137. Room 137, the check became secondary. What was primary now was developing my child and making sure that he has the character traits that he needs to have to be successful as an adult. And he was also doing what? Bringing value back to the table. That means that if he didn't give me that information, my situation couldn't have been better. He gave me the information that I needed to make my situation better. That was value back to the table. That's the type of adult that I want to have. So now what became primary was making sure that he understood exactly what it was that he did so he could duplicate that again and again and again until it became him. I didn't sit up there and run to room 137. I got down on my knee. And people in the hospital was looking at me like I was crazy. But I didn't care because I'm on a mission. I say, man, boom. I did just like this. I leveled with that little fella like this. And I say, man, son. And I'm telling you, no lie. I said, son, man, boom. I did like this. Boom. We did the high five. I'm like, son, that's what I'm talking about. And he's looking at me like, what's going on, Dad? Like, I just gave you the information. Like, you know. I'm like, son, man, because of what you do and what I do, man, guess what, man? We about to win the championship. Man, you my teammate. Man, you done brought value back to the table, man, by giving me the number to your mom's room. If you didn't look at that room number, I would have never known it, and I would have still been looking for my check. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I told him what he did, which was what? Man, he brought value back to the table. He's my teammate. And now I'm telling him what he did to make the situation better. Without him bringing value back to the table, I couldn't have got that information to be able to get my check. Look, encouragement. I'm letting him know what's being done. And now I'm going to let him know how that's going to benefit him in the future. Son, when you do that in the future and you do that when you're an adult, man, people are going to want to be around you because you bringing value back to the table, man. You look good for people. People will be attracted to you. And opportunity come through relationships, son. That's what it's about, man. Good stuff. Boom. Teammate. He's been named my teammate ever since then. If you look in my phone, it'll say my teammate. Ever since then, he's been named my teammate, and he loves every bit of it. He's like, I'm your teammate, right? So now, when we doing anything, that's what he's trying to do. Show me that he's my teammate. I kid you not. If I say, man, you know what? Hey, man, hey, you want a sandwich, son? He'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, okay, I'm about to go ahead and make one. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get the meat. Okay, son, I'm gonna get the bread. Okay, I'm gonna get the cheese. Okay, I'm gonna get the mayonnaise. So he's always trying to do something to show me that he's my teammate. If we rolling in the car, no lie, he's in the back seat. I remember, man, papers flying all everywhere because I had the windows down. He's trying to catch the papers. Dad, slow down, slow down, slow down, so the papers don't fly out the window. He's trying to add value. to my life, to the household. Why is he doing that? Because I encouraged the behavior. And now he's just duplicating the behavior until it becomes him. And this is how it's a science. This stuff is a science. But guess what happens when we don't? One thing that can happen is when we just look at what's wrong in a situation. And if we look at what's wrong in a situation, what's going to happen? Your children will grow up as adults and they will just look at what's wrong in the situation. And if you just look for the wrong, then guess what you're going to get?
Wrong.
If you're looking at what everything is wrong with the situation, then you're going to find more wrong. And then you're going to be sitting up there mad because you got all of this wrong in your hands. Well, that's what you have been looking for. You haven't even been satisfied with the right. You don't care about the right. Have you been around people that just sees what's wrong with everything? You like, man, what about all of the right? Like, I don't care about the right.
This right here, friends. This right here. You know, we be like, dang, made it here for 90 days, man. I made it here stuck. It could be a lot worse. Look at the good side. You got your clothes on, we go outside. In jail, you are stuck in a box.
See what I'm saying? And it can always be like that. That's what I'm saying. And that's what will change your experience and put you in the best place. So when I was doing my 10 years at 19 years old, and I had to spend my whole entire 20s inside a Marion Correctional Institution, I looked at other people and say, man, they got life. They ain't going out. And then I seen other people going to the parole board who had just did 10, and then they got 10 at the parole board, not an outdate 10, but a 10 to come back and see the parole board to see if we're going to let you out after that 10. So I looked at that and said, wow, it could be worse. Man, at least I know that I'm going home. And not only that, but I said that, man, you know what? I got, man, business management that I can go to in college too as well. I'm going to take up business management. I'm going to take it to another level. I'm going to take up administrative office technology. I'm going to learn the computers. I'm going to learn Spanish. Exio mucho, pero traigo mucho a la mesa. I demand a lot, but I bring a lot to the table. I said that I'm going to learn everything that I possibly can because it's available. I look for what was right in the situation. And because I look for what was right in the situation, that's why you got me home for 13 and a half years now, outside of my 10-year prison sentence.
Yes, sir.
It's not because I was sitting up there. It doesn't just miraculously happen. The way that it happens is how your mind is set up. So you can say, you know what, I got 90 days in here, but after this, it ain't going to be no more of this type of man incarceration. It ain't going to be no rehabilitation facilities. I'm going to take this, I'm going to use this to take me to another level. Like, I got like, this is good. Failure is the tuition to success. The only way that you can become successful is if you fail. So failure is the tuition to success. You look for what's right in the situation. I can still be the father that I want to be. I still got time left. Man, how do I know I can still be the father that I want to be? Because I still got breath in my body. So I still got some time left. If you ain't got no breath in your body, then you ain't got no more time left, but you got breath in your body. That means that you still got an opportunity to get it right. And if you get it right, you will reap the results for getting it right. But the decision is yours. It's just about you making the decision and saying, time is now. I'm changing my direction right now. And because you make the decision to change your direction, guess what? Your destination will change. But if your direction is going to that destination, then that's the destination that you will arrive to. And if that destination is over the cliff, then that's where you're going, is over the cliff. But if you change your direction and you go over here to the promised land, then guess where your destination will be? The promised land. Will it take 5-10 years to get there? Yes, but you can't get there unless you face in that direction. That's the only way that you can get there, is if you face the direction of where you want to really go. So that's what I want. I want my children to be individuals that look at what's right in the situation, and the way that they can do that is by how I handle the situations when things happen. So when they do the wrong, I gotta still figure out what's right in the wrong that they do. It's so easy to just highlight all of the wrong. How many of y'all have parents, when y'all did the wrong, they ain't tell you nothing about what was right that was in that wrong? They just told you everything that was wrong, right? Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that moved them, is to tell you everything that was wrong. But they didn't tell you about what was right. And just because they ain't tell you about what was right, was it not anything right? It's always some right. It's some right in the wrong of us, and there's some wrong in the right of us, right? So I don't care what anybody say. It's always some right in the wrong, and it's always some wrong in the right. We just got to be able to identify it, right? We got to be focused on it. So now that's what I do with my children. When they do the wrong, I make sure that I show them about the right. In fact, let's go ahead and rewind back to baby Bubba when he was taking the shower. I remember I come in there one day, and I'm like, man, because I ran out of my toothpaste. I'm like, man, I ran out of my toothpaste. He had toothpaste in his bathroom. I'm like, let me go ahead and get some of his toothpaste, right? So I'm going in his bathroom, and he brushes past me. He's doing this thing. He's been doing this thing for some weeks now. And I say, man, son, you doing your thing? He brushed past me with the towel around his waist, wet body. You know, he's about to get dressed. And he's like, yes, yeah, Dad, I'm doing my thing. Self-regulated. I'm like, no doubt, man. You know, so I'm going to get my dang on toothpaste, right? And when I'm getting my toothpaste out the corner of my eye, I say, man, what the heck? And I look in the tub, and I say, hold up. Man, I see his rag, and his rag is like this, boiled up, tight, dry. I say, man, this rag dried in him up. What the heck is going on? He just got out the shower with a wet body. He just passed by me, nodded his head, self-regulated. He's doing his thing. I say, what the heck? So I do a little bit further research, and then I look on the other corner of the tub, and I see the soap. And I'm looking at the soap. I'm like, man, what the heck? The soap is stuck to the corner of the tub. I'm like, man, this is crazy, right? I'm like, man, the soap is stuck to the corner of the tub. I'm like, man, the soap is dried in the mug. I'm like, it's no suds on the soap, and the rag is bone dry. What I done figured out is that this brother has not been washing up when he's been getting in the shower. So that means that he's been getting in the shower and just letting the water just go on his body. I'm like, this brother is crazy. This is crazy, right? So now what he would have to do is have to get in the shower and use the soap. So when I come out and I say, son, man, what's going on, man? I say, man, son, what's going on? He says, Dad, what's going on? I'm getting dressed. He's about to play his Xbox because he got time left and he's feeling this. So I say, son, man, when you get in the shower, do you be using soap and wash it up? And he looks at me and he says, he just deflated. He was walking out, he was like this when he walked out. He was like, yeah, self-regulated, right? But then when I caught him not washing up, he was like, nah, Dad. I said, what you talking about? Why not? And he says, he looked at me straight face, right in my pupil. And he says, Dad, because it take too long. I say, it take too long. I mean, boys is dirty to the one. That's how they be, man. I got to continuously tell his brother, like, shower, brother, hygiene, right? He says, because it takes too long. I say, for real, that's what it is? He says, man, yeah, it takes too long, Dad. I say, son, man, you're going to have to get back in the shower and do it the right way. But, pause, right there. How do you think that your parents would have had, what kind of exchange would it have been with your parents? Because they would have to take you to school too, because you would have been late for the bus because you had to retake a shower. So this is another thing that's on the plate for me. How would it have been?
Yelling and screaming and punishments and yeah, that would have been.
That's common. That's common. It could have been some stuff like this. Man, that's your problem. You think you so grown. You think you smarter than everybody else. See what I'm saying? Now you gonna mess around and miss the bus. Man, that's so stupid. Why the heck would you get in the shower and not use soap? You gonna be stinking and everything else. That's so dumb. Like, I don't understand this stuff. Now I'm gonna have to take your dang old butt to school. Man, I'm telling you, man, I should just take off this belt and whip you right here with your wet body, right? Like, is that how it could have went?
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound like? Now I'm gonna ask y'all this. This is why I say this is a thinking man's game. I'm gonna ask y'all this. Which one of the goals were we accomplishing by doing that? Was we increasing their confidence?
No.
Was we helping them become good decision makers? Was we helping them become self-regulated? Was we helping them bring value back to the table? Was we helping them do their best? None of that stuff, right? What were we compromising? For surely we was compromising their confidence. Because usually that's not going to be no isolated event. It's going to be a continuous thing that happens when you interact with your children, when you do that. You're going to always look at what's wrong when they do the wrong, and you're never going to look at the right. And when you're looking at just what I've done that's wrong, then I'm going to start to think that all I do is wrong, and there's no right in me, and I'm just going to do more wrong. Because I'm going to feel like that I can't really do right because you didn't see no right in the situation. It's going to be in my mind. You see how that works? Like, now and not only that, but I'm going to start thinking negatively about you. Because the only thing you see in me is wrong. I don't like you. You my father, but I don't like you. And I'm going to make it hard on you every step of the way. Because you only see what's wrong. If somebody just looked at what was wrong in you, how will you feel about that person? If what they told you, everything that's wrong, and they looked at the negative in you, and they never seen any positive, and they never, it's not that they don't see the positive, but they don't encourage and tell you about the positive. Only thing that they tell you about is the negative. How are you going to feel about that person?
All they do is yell at you.
All they do is yell at you. How you gonna feel about that
That's
person?
exactly why my kids don't listen to their mother.
I'm telling you, like they will not, because they have negative feelings inside of them. Now you start to understand what it is. They have negative feelings inside of them, so then there's a barrier between them and their mother because of the way that they are being interacted with. They are not being influenced. The mother's trying to dominate them and control them. And because of that, they are going to resist their mother every step of the way.
Lack of communication, all type of things arise.
Because when the wrong happens, they take it all the way up to level 10.
Right.
And when the right happens, how many have y'all heard this? You doing right? What I'm supposed to pat you on the back because you doing what you're supposed to do? When I'm supposed to like clap because you doing what you're supposed to do? Yes. Man, clap when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Pat me on the back when I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So I can do it again and again and again. I don't want, man, when I do what I'm supposed to do to be minimized, because if it's minimized, then I'm going to minimize it inside of my head. This stuff is, man, a science. So, now, let's go back to the situation. How did I handle it? I said, man, you know what? Let me go ahead and tell them about the right before I address the wrong. So this is stuff that we got to apply, man. Look, I tell them about the right before I address the wrong. So I say, man, you know what, son? Hey, check this out, man. Look. What was right in the situation, first of all?
He got in the shower.
He still got up and got in the shower. He still got up on his own, got in the shower, right? What else? He told me the truth, right?
Yeah.
He didn't have to tell me the truth.
Yeah.
He didn't know that I had that information about the soap and the rag.
Right.
So he told me the truth, right? So then these are things that he's doing. He's still getting dressed on his own, and he's still making it to the bus stop on his own, right? On time. So these are the positive things that are still occurring. Just because he did the negative didn't erase the positive. So I still got to address the positive just to make it balanced. So often we be unbalanced. We just telling them all of the wrong and we don't tell them about the right. It is my responsibility to tell them about the right. And that's how I have the right to tell them about the wrong. But I'm telling you, you don't have no right to tell your children about the wrong when you ain't told them about the right.
Powerful.
Because when you try to tell them about the wrong and you ain't told them about the right, you will get rejected. the way that my son was able to come up and be like good with what I was telling him is because I came first with the right. I led with the right. Son, man, listen. Hey, man, you still getting up on, man, you getting up on your own, right? Encouraging that behavior. Man, you self-regulating, man, that's a beautiful thing, man. You in the 4th grade and you getting done what other 4th graders ain't getting done. That's a beautiful thing, man. And you making it to the bus stop on your own. You've been making it to the bus stop on your own for like about 4 or 5 weeks now. Beautiful thing, son. I'm proud of you for what you're doing. And not only that, man, but you told me the truth. You didn't know that I had the information with you not washing up, man. You know, this is the conversation I'm having with him before I tell him to get back in the shower, right? I say, man, but son, man, listen, man, you told me the truth when you didn't have to. Man, it's adults that lied to avoid the consequences. And you was ready to accept the consequences for whatever they was going to be. Like, that's stand-up stuff, son. Like, I appreciate you for that. Look what I'm doing. I'm just setting it up to be able to deliver him what I need to give him. But, look, see, so now I say, but, son, listen, man, hey, man, you gotta use soap, man. Like, you not using soap, man, it's gonna be stuff that's growing out your crevices that you don't want, man. I'm dead serious, man. Like, your feet and stuff, you gonna have crazy stuff on your feet, funguses and things like that on your feet. You know, and fast forward, and just with that, hold up, is like what happened about a couple days later is that because he did all of that time without washing and stuff, the brother got that dang on athlete's foot, right? And he had to get that tough action tonight, and he's seen the consequences of not washing. Now that brother washes his feet like crazy, right? Because he didn't like the feet been on fire like that. The puppies was on fire. But I told him, I said, man, but son, man, you don't want all of that stuff, man, on your body, man. That's what the soap does. It kills that bacteria and stuff like that, you know. So I'm going to need you to get back in the shower, man, and get it done, right? And that brother was like, at first he came and was just like, when I told him, like, man, son, you ain't taking no shit, you ain't using no soap, he was like this. But as I started to tell him about the right, he started to, man, get up about himself. The whole environment changed. Because he's like, man, yeah, I know I did wrong, but guess what? I also did some right, too. So now, after he got in the shower and everything was cool, right? And not only that, after I said the wrong, then I came back with some more positive. I just reiterated it and said, man, but son, yeah, keep on doing your thing, man. You getting up, doing your thing, man. Next level, man, you self-regulate. After you put in the soap into the equation now, man, you're going to be on a whole nother level, man. Like, good stuff. And it was cool, right? That's how I left that situation. But now, what does that do to his mind? He's going to always be looking for the right and the wrong. Because I did it with him. So now, when he's in a situation and it's bad, he's going to be looking for the right in it. And if he looks for the right in it, he's going to be able to build on that right and get more right. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm doing to his mind? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm really developing. Like, that's why I say this is the greatest responsibility that we have encountered as adults, which is the responsibility of the development of an actual individual, because we got to develop their minds in a way to where they will be successful. And they come into this world as a blank canvas. That means how they will be based on the investment that we make into them. That means if they struggle in life, that's because of our neglect. That's because of our lack of focus. But that's what this is all about, fellas. We get into these classes, we have these conversations. It ain't gonna stop here. We gotta have these conversations. Y'all see me on Facebook, on videos, man. Continue to build on this stuff, man. Continue to. The reason why I do what I do is because I'm submerged into this fatherhood piece. So when I'm interacting with my children, I'm in this all the way. It's in the front of my mind. That's how we get it done. That's how we accomplish our goals with our children. And then at the end of it, when it's all said and done, they'll be who we designed them to be. So if they the trash man, whatever profession they take on, they're going to be successful. Why? Because they made a good decision. That fit them. They evaluated the concept. They said, I want that. That's what's needed. That's going to give me my best need. We want to help our children be good decision makers. What do we do to help them become good decision makers? We put them in a position to make decisions. Because the only way that you can become a good decision maker is by being a bad decision maker. So we give our children the ability to make decisions. My daughter, she says, man, Dad, man, let me go ahead and get that sour, those sour Skittles. And I tell her, I say, man, you ain't gonna want them sour Skittles. I know you ain't, right? But this is the only candy we gonna get. If you gonna get that, then that's what you gonna have. I wanted to not get that because I didn't want to waste no money. But she wanted those sour Skittles. And I said, man, I gotta get those sour Skittles for you. Why? Because I know that you're not gonna like them. So you made a bad decision in your choice of candy. And when she got the sour Skittles, she said, oh, no, that's so nasty. I said, I told you wasn't going to like them. She's like, Dad, suck off the sour part. And I did it for like 3 or 4 pieces. And I'm like, man, I'm not about to keep on sucking off the sour part and giving you the candy. My hands all sticky. Like, man, kids will do crazy stuff to you, man. I said, man, I'm not about to keep on doing this, man. I say, man, you out candy for the rest of the game. We was at our brother's football game. I was like, man, ain't no more. I ain't going back to the concession stand, you know. But guess what? She did when we was going into for a movie night, and she was like, man, let me go ahead and buy my candy. I said, what candy you want? And she said, man, is that sour? And I says, no, daughter, and it's not sour. She's like, okay, good, because I ain't doing sour no more. You see what she's doing now? She's changing the way that she's making her decision. Because she understood that the way that she made it the last time gave her a bad result. So she already got information of things that she doesn't like. So she's not going to go ahead and do things that she doesn't like. She's not going to get no results that she doesn't want. So she says, I want to have a good experience when I'm eating candy. So one of the ways that I'm going to have a good experience is to make sure that it's not sour. So I'm going to ask my father, since I can't read, is it sour or is it not? And once he tells me that it's not sour, then I know that it's a good shot for me to take. Decisions, and as she make decisions like that, as she make decisions like that, as she goes on, then that's how she becomes better in decision making, right? I ask her, what vegetable do you want to eat at dinner? What vegetable do you want to eat? Spinach, green beans, or corn? I just want them to make a decision. I'm not asking them, do you want to drive the car or ride your bike, right? I'm asking them decisions that fit within my overall decision. You want to wear this shoe? You want to wear that shoe? Whatever shoe you want to wear. I'm making the decision that you got to wear a shoe though. You just can't be out there with barefoot, but you can wear whatever shoe you want to wear. And that increases the confidence in your child. One time my daughter, she was wanting to have some dang on purple shoes with a lime green suit. And I said, but she wanted the purpleized Caspagashes. And I said, her mom like, no, man, that don't match. And I said, man, it matches to her. Let her wear what she wants to wear. I give her the ability. At the end of the day, I just want to make sure you got shoes on your feet. If you want to wear purpleized Caspagashes with a lime green suit, then that's on you. So people will look at our daughter and see her with this crazy outfit on in their minds. But guess what? I tell them off the rip, that's what she chose. I chose for her to have clothes and shoes on. And that's what she wanted to wear. I give her the ability to make decisions. And what that does, it strengthens the relationship too. Because now the child feels like, man, you know what? I have the ability to have some say on my life. This is easy stuff to do, but it's also easy not to do. It's easy to make all of the decisions for them. You're going to eat what I tell you you're going to eat. You're going to wear what I tell you you're going to wear. I let my children pick out the clothes that they're gonna wear. I buy the clothes that my children say that they want. My son wants certain type of cleats. I let him get them cleats. And when he finds out that them cleats ain't hitting on nothing and they uncomfortable, I be like, you gotta wear them for the whole entire football season because them is what you wanted. You base your decision on how they look and everybody else on your team had them. You didn't even try on your cleats. You just wanted to get them because they look good and everybody on the team had them. Now you gotta pay the consequence of them being uncomfortable because you didn't try them on when we was at Foot Locker. That didn't matter to you. But now guess what he does when we go in and buy shoes? Let me see how they fit.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? That's good stuff, fellas. Okay, that's our time, man.
All right.
It's good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man.
Oh,
Jordan's
good.
asleep too.
All right, brother. Tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Yes,
Let's
thank
finish your paperwork. Let's finish your paperwork.
Okay.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
All right.